G'day Year 10, welcome back to lesson 3 for geography. What I want to do before we start with this lesson is a little bit of a revision. I'd like you guys to conduct a quick write based on lesson 2, which when we looked at spatial variations in human well-being. So I want you to write what you think it means and to provide an example. Time yourself for 3 minutes, don't stop writing until it's done. As you can see, this guy's writing frantically, and that's where I want you guys to be at this stage. So have that as a quick write, put your answer down, and then your teacher will review it later. On to lesson 3, is we're going to be looking at global indicators and benchmarks in human well-being. So again, that's your title for today. If you could get that down in your books, that would be fantastic. So when we're looking at the word global indicators, what we're looking at is how do we measure human well-being? What's the standard that we use? So I know that we've looked at things like it's really important to have the essential things to survive, to have human well-being, things like food, water, shelter, safety and security, and even money, you could say, in today's world. And it's also really important to have other aspects, so things like a social life, connection with family and friends, doing things and hobbies and interests that might give you entertainment or give you a sense of fulfillment and achievement. All of those things really improve your human well-being. But of course, the world being the way it is, they've come up with some global scales, and what I mean by that is ways of measuring human well-being. So how do we actually measure it? We compare it to different standards, and that's what we're going to look at today. So, writing our learning intention and success criteria down, our learning intention for today is to examine global indicators and benchmarks for human well-being. So that's kind of our syllabus stop point. And I talked a little bit about those global indicators just earlier, so have a rewind and a relook at that if you need to. Moving on to our success criteria for today, in order to really understand our learning intention, these global indicators of human well-being, we're going to be looking at two different main measurements that countries across the world use to measure human well-being for different countries. So we're going to be looking at terms GDP, you've probably heard of that one, and then we're going to look at another one called the OECD, and we're going to look at what it means. And what we're going to do between both of those theories is we are going to justify the appropriateness of these theories. Do they actually measure human well-being accurately according to their standards? Do they cover the essential items, food, safety, shelter, etc.? And do they cover those non-essential items, but things that are really important for human well-being? Now we're just going to break down this word justify just to show what it means, and I want you guys to draw maybe a little arrow next to it and get this definition down. So when you're asked to justify something, it means that you're required to give reasons for an argument that explains that position. Now, in layman's terms, you are being asked to prove why something is right. So you're trying to give different evidence or facts to prove that way of thinking. If we were to break it down, so if I was to ask to be justified or asked to justify a healthy diet, I would have to give reasons why that is good, so why a healthy diet is beneficial, and then I would have to back that up with some examples and evidence and some detailed explanations as well. So if we're asked to justify the appropriateness of these measures, we're being asked to say why we think they're good and to back that up with evidence and example.